Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our pre-match press conference ahead of tomorrow's first leg of the semi-final against Bengaluru FC. With me is head coach Des Buckingham and midfielder Apuya Ralte. Floor's open. You can ask your questions.
Hi, coach. So, it's a two-legged semi-final. So, obviously, you're playing your first leg at home. So, obviously, you're going to play with knowing that there's another 90 minutes to come. So, how do you sort of approach it in terms of, do you see this as 180 minutes, or you just see this as two individual games?
I see it's two individual games. You have to plan for the 90 minutes you're about to face. Obviously, we know that the outcome of that 90 minutes could influence the second part, but there's no point in looking at the second part until the first part is done. So we'll approach this game the same way we have all the others, which we've had 2 weeks now to plan and prepare and rest and recover, and we've got everybody in a really good space. So we'll take each game as it comes, same as we did in the league, but it's important that we just look at this game in isolation to start with.
So, coach, the only win against DFC this season came against them at home. How important is the home crowd for you in this game, especially being a semi-final?
Yeah, home crowd. I've said this all season. It's not just the home crowd. I think it's the atmosphere when you come to the Mumbai football arena. The fans are a lot closer to the pitch, and the atmosphere that is created is very different to other grounds. Not to say it's better, but it's very special. And I think anyone that's come to the ground, whether it's a home fan or an away fan, will say the same. And it does have a big impact on what the players feel on the field, because we certainly do from the dugouts. Fans are very important, and it's so good to be able to play in front of them this season as opposed to what was last year when we were in the bubbles. So we're looking forward to a sold-out Mumbai football arena to hopefully cheer us on against a very good BFC team, and one we'll be ready for.
And a question for Apuya. Apuya, you got your first assist of the season recently in the last 3 games. I think you got your first assist. What are you trying to work? What is the work you're putting behind the scenes with coach to become more of a creative outlet for the team?
I think I still haven't got the.
I don't think it was given to him. But he scored thrice.
Yeah, I scored against them, and I hope this time I could get some assists. And most important is the win for the team. I cannot focus on myself. The most important thing is the team, and it will always be the team.
So obviously, Bengaluru FC are one of the 2 teams that managed to beat you. So they're saying that they want to draw inspiration from that game. So as a coach, how do you sort of ensure that doesn't play on your mind of your players in this game?
You can look at it as they were the team to beat us, or you can go back to the 4-0 where we beat them at home. You can go back through as many games as you want. It's irrelevant. What's important is that the game is in front of us, and we had a wonderful season. Of a team to celebrate and beat us. That we experienced that the year before, but they were few and far between this year. But we've shown if we can stick true to what we believe in the way that we do things over a period of time, the performances firstly come, and then you hope that the result follows. We've shown that over 20 games, 18 times, that was the case. So regardless of the last game, when you put it in context, if we can do everything that we want to do and try and perform as well as we can, we hope that that's enough to then bring the result as well.
Coach, firstly, Apuya and Anuj, I wish the 3 of you happy Holi, and let's have a festival of colours tomorrow. As far as the 2 teams are concerned, there's one team that has established a narrative of winning streak in the past 3 seasons, that's Mumbai City. And there's one team that knows how to play knockout games, that's Bengaluru. And it's a completely different team that plays knockout games when it comes to the business end of the tournament. So how much of a tactical advantage does Mumbai City FC get, given the fact that we won the Shield and there is a competitive spirit against Bengaluru, who has also got a streak of winning trophies right from the start or right from their existence? So how much of a tactical shift it would look as far as the 2 organizations are concerned?
It doesn't make a difference, in my opinion. And I think when you look at their squad, it's a very good squad. I think it's probably one that's flown under the radar a little bit with the individuals and the quality that they have. Obviously, it's come to the fore of the last 8 or 9 games because they've got the results, and they found a way that suits what they want to do. But in terms of knockout football, this is bonus football for everybody. To arrive at this stage of the season into a semi-final, when I look back, we finished 5th last year. We're not the current reigning champions of this competition, so there's no pressure on us. It's one of excitement where we've already got a trophy, which we're very happy with, but we want to try and see if we can do a little bit more. But to do that, we need to firstly approach this 90 minutes as well as we can, and we've tried the last 2 weeks to really try and do that, and then we'll see what we get tomorrow, and then try and put ourselves in a strong position for that second game. So, yeah, I think history is what it is. But yeah, I don't think it plays too much of a role in what's to come.
Coach, for the first leg of the semi-final, which part of the pitch do you think the game will be decided in when you're playing against a counter-attacking side like Bengaluru?
In both boxes, as it always is. So, yeah, we've played them twice now. We obviously played them in the Durand Cup final as well. They've got a very clear way as to the way that they want to play. So we need to be very careful about how we set ourselves up in certain moments. But again, we've got the way that we want to play. And we've shown what that can yield in terms of the goals we can score, the chances that we can create, the points that picks up, and the performances that we can put out on a regular basis. So yeah, I think it's certainly always determined in both boxes. And for us, whether it's Bengaluru, who in the last game I thought we had 2 wonderful chances in the first half where we could have gone in with at least 1-0, if not 2-0, when we're away. We take our chances, we'll put ourselves in a strong position, but we must make sure as well that we set ourselves up to deal with the threats that they do pose, because they've got a very clear way of doing that, but they've got very good players that do it as well.
And just to follow up, speaking of good players, do you have a specific plan to counter an informed Sunil Chhetri? He's been informed, he's been in great touch over the last few weeks.
No, we don't spend too much time looking at one player in particular. We look at their team and the way that they try to do things. And if you look at Sunil, you might take your attention away from a Roy Krishna or a Javi or even Siva. It's not just one. There's 2 or 3 that if you turn your attention too closely to one, you'll miss the other one. So we've got a way that we do things, how we defend. And if, again, we make sure that we set ourselves up properly in our defensive setup, we'll try and deal with not just Sunil, but whoever it is that takes to the field as well as we can, whilst also not taking away from our game.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Puya, I've got a question for you. How does it feel playing in that midfield during training and during games? There's Ahmed Jao on one side, there's Mitra on the other, there's yourself, and then there's the attacking trio. Jorge is on one side, Sante is on another, everybody's on form. How does that energy push you through while it comes to training as well as on match day? How does the decision making of these players influence you in growing yourself as a player?
Yeah, it's a joy for me to play alongside these players. Everyone is a top player in India, and competing against them, it helps me a lot. Even playing against Jahu sometimes, it's great feelings, and beating him, not only him, even Greg, not making some good players like last time. It happens to some good players. I will not mention his name. It's a joy to train and play alongside him.
Yeah, so you're going to come up against Suresh Singh Wangjam tomorrow. So obviously you fight for a place in the national team as well. So he's sort of emerged at the same time as you. So how do you see his growth as a player, and what are his strengths, and how do you sort of plan to tackle him?
Yeah, he's a hard-working guy. He runs a lot. He fights for the ball, and But for me, it's always the same approach. It doesn't matter whom we are going to play or whom am I going to stand against. I concentrate on myself, what I can do, and what is the best for the team. So the approach will be always the same to win the match. We will not concentrate on one particular players or some only depends on the team. It doesn't matter on one guy. It's a team game, so we will approach the game as always.
Coach, so you have quite a young core in your squad. How important is the hunger of that young core that pushes them on in games? How important do you feel that hunger is?
Yeah, I think it's a fine balance you need to try and strike. I think when you want to be successful, whether it's fans or the club, we want to be successful. But we want to be successful playing a certain way, and we want to be successful developing players, whether they're young or old. And if you can get the right mix of youngsters and time it right to bring them in and give them opportunities. You know what? I've seen it so many times where maybe youngsters get thrown in too quickly and too early, and they don't come back from it, or maybe the team suffers because of that. The results don't go that way, and it's very difficult for them to come back in. But I think we've managed to find a good balance where we do. Our average age is a very young one, but we've been able to, whether it's Apoya here, Vignesh left back, Fubar in goal, Metab who's come through. We've had Sanjeev and Hardik, even Haaland that started the last game, and that's just sub defenders. So all Indian front line, even Ayush starting as an 18-year-old in the last game. They're very important because they push and they challenge themselves, but as Apoya said, when you have good players around you, to be able to work and train alongside them daily and then learn off of them as well as hopefully the coaches, they're wonderful role models to be in and around. Once you have a good mix of learning and hunger, but not just that, professionalism and humbleness, it's a good mix. They're good people, it's a good group, and that's one of the large reasons as we've been as successful as we had this year. It's not just the young players, it's been about how everybody's come together.
Cool. So you had a decent amount of time to prepare for this game. So how has the preparation, what have you focused on? And they obviously played a game extra since then. So does it give you an advantage over this one?
Half a game. Half a game.
Yeah. We were the first team to finish the regular season in terms of our games program. 20 games finished the week before everybody else. So the players had 5 days off, where they went back to friends, families, and we've done this 2 or 3 times now. We've done it after the Durand Cup. We've done it before the Champions League. And what we found is a 4 or 5 day period. It gives people a chance to rest, recover, recuperate. And we found that when they come back, they've still got the same hunger and motivation, but they're a lot fresher and ready to go again. So that was the first thing we did. Everyone went back, spent time with friends and family. And then we've had sort of 12 days making sure that, again, although we haven't been playing competitive games, that we've had 3 blocks of training where we've made sure that we have hit the standards in terms of, although we haven't played the game, these guys have still hit the same kind of quality that we would need to make sure we're as prepared for this game as we can. So broken it down into 3 separate blocks, the last of which is the session today. And we hope that what we've done will prepare us as well as we can for what we're about to face.
Just last question, Coach. Is there an internal competition between Chante and Jorge for the Golden Boot, or no?
I think when you look at our group, we've scored, I think, 54 goals in the league, 54 or 54. But we don't have a player that sits top of the goal scoring charts, which is pretty amazing when you think about how many goals have been scored. But I think what it does do is it reflects the type of people and the players that we have within our team. It's not been about just one player. It's been about a combination of not just the front 5, but the players that have come on to contribute. And when I look at our team, yes, it's great to have Diaz as our leading goals up there for us, but he's supported and surrounded by Chante, by Greg, by Bipin, and then even Apoya scoring 3 this season, and Vanit stepping in. But when I see that happen, and there was a penalty, I think 2 or 3 games ago, where you talk about strong relationships in our group and it not being about the individual. Chante won the penalty, and Jorge, who was our penalty taker, give him the ball to let him take it. And I think while you have that shared understanding and they work together as a 2 or a 3 or a 5 in this case, that's the reason we've gone on to be as successful this year as we have. And that's the reason for me we've scored as many goals and we pose as many threats across that front line as we can, because of their understanding of the team and not themselves, and also then their understanding of each other. So.
Any further questions? Okay, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Apoya.
Thank you.